This is the Anna Gale Lines Podcast, where we equip you with the tools and insights to take charge of your life and thrive. And here is your host, life coach and author, Anna Gale Lines.
Welcome to the Anna Gale Lines Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Gale Lines. When I was in the 7th grade, I started a new school. And previous to this, I had been in a religious private school. This is not the first time I had been in a public school, but it was a turning point for me because this was junior high school, the time when you need to have social interactions and you start dating. And what we learn in junior high school tends to stay with us for the rest of our lives. And I was eating lunch alone for like the first couple of weeks because I didn't know anybody at this school. So I see this girl across the field, and she's sitting on a sidewalk and she's crying, and I don't know why she's crying, and I'm a really shy person, so I have no idea what possessed me to go over there and sit next to her. So I don't say anything. I just sit next to this girl, and she turns to me and she says, "Do you like Duran Duran?" I had no idea who Duran Duran was. I had no idea that they were a music group. I had no idea who Simon, Nick, Andy, Roger, or John were. I had no clue because I wasn't allowed to listen to rock and roll music. I wasn't allowed to listen to anything after like 1950. I wasn't allowed to listen to any popular music. So I had no idea who these people were. But because I was trying to fit in, I was trying to be the chameleon, I said, "Yes, I know who they are. I like them." And so she would relate stories about them to me, and she would tell me all about them, to the point where I thought I knew them after this. It was like a crash course in Duran Duran. So she brings me into her group of all these other people. And at the time, I didn't realize how toxic these relationships were, but that is what tends to happen in junior high school. And I became friends with all these people, and I would eat lunch with them, and I met my first boyfriend through them, and all of that. But I wasn't my authentic self. They didn't know who I actually was. I tried to conform to whatever they liked. And that gets us into trouble if you continue that into adulthood, because people don't really know who you are. They don't know your authentic self, and you are hiding behind a mask, and you may not even know who you are anymore. So today we're diving into a topic that's super important but often overlooked: authenticity. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with filtered images, curated lifestyles, and societal expectations, staying true to who we really are can feel like a challenge. But what does it actually mean to be authentic? And how can embracing our true selves lead to a happier and more fulfilling life? In this episode, we're going to explore the concept of authenticity, why it's so crucial for our well-being, and share some practical tips on how we can start living more authentically today. So whether you're struggling to find your true self, feeling pressured to fit in, or just curious about what authenticity can do for you, stick around. We're going to break it all down and give you the tools you need to embrace your uniqueness and live life on your terms. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started on this journey to discovering the real you. So what is authenticity? Authenticity is about embracing who you are at the core and living a life that reflects your true self. It's a journey of self-discovery and self-expression where you continuously strive to be genuine in every aspect of your life. So what are some reasons that we should cultivate authenticity? One is improved mental health. So we reduce stress and anxiety because we're being ourselves. We're eliminating the pressure to maintain a facade. which leads to lower stress levels and overall mental health. It enhances our self-esteem because authenticity fosters self-acceptance and self-worth, improving our confidence and self-esteem. So when we are being authentic, we are not trying to be somebody else. We are not pretending to be somebody else. We're not trying to be the best person at our job. We're not trying to be like the superstar at work. We're not trying to be favored. We're not trying to be anybody that we are not. We play to our skills and we master our weaknesses, but we are who we are, and we don't try to be someone else. Too many times when we're at work, when we work for somebody else, it feels like we're trying to conform ourselves to their mentality, to their culture, to what they want us to act and be like, and that we cannot be ourselves. That's why a lot of people are now going to being entrepreneurs and doing side gigs and side hustles because they get to be who they are. And that is your superpower, being who you are, being authentic. Authenticity leads us to greater fulfillment and happiness because we live purposefully. Authenticity aligns our actions with our values and passions. It leads us to a more meaningful and satisfying life. And it gives us joy in everyday life because we're embracing our true self. We're embracing who we are and what we like to do and what our values are. And then it gives us deeper relationships because people can trust us and respect us because they know that we're being who we are and we're not being fake. We're not wearing a mask. We don't have a facade on, so they can trust that what we say and what we do is who we really are. And then it gives us genuine connection because it fosters deeper and meaningful connections with others because they don't have to worry about whether you're going to stab them in the back, whether you're going to be loyal or not. And it also enhances personal growth. So it gives us a sense of self-awareness, encourages us to reflect on who we are and who we want to be. And it helps us to learn from experiences. Being authentic helps us learn from our experiences as we are most likely to accept and analyze our mistakes and successes honestly because we're being ourselves. And it teaches us to come back from those failures, come back from that feedback, and to help us be a better version of ourselves. And it increases resilience. So it gives us emotional strength. It helps us build emotional resilience by helping us confront and process our true feelings. And it helps us to be adaptable because being genuine makes it easier to adapt to challenges and changes because we have more inner strength, and it helps us to make better decisions because authenticity provides clarity about what truly matters to us, leading us to better and more focused decision making because we know what our values are, we know what our passions are, we know where we're going in life, and anything off of that track or doesn't lead us to that goal doesn't need to be in our lives. So we know we could say no to that party when we need to focus on learning about our new business. We could say no to these people who are going to be toxic in our lives. We make better decisions. And it leads us to professional success because authentic leaders inspire trust and loyalty in the people that they lead. And it leads us to creativity and innovation because authenticity fosters a creative and innovative mindset because we think outside the box. And it helps us to have a positive impact on others because we can be role models for others. We can set a positive example for others, encouraging them to be true to themselves. And it helps us have empathy and understanding because It helps us to empathize with others, fostering a supportive and understanding environment. And it leads us to greater life satisfaction because it helps us to stay aligned with our goals. So, what are some characteristics commonly associated with authenticity? One is self-awareness. When we're authentic, we have a deeper understanding of our strengths and our weaknesses, our values and our passions. And it helps us to stay honest because we're honest with ourselves and others, even when the truth is uncomfortable, because we're transparent and people know that this is the person that we are. In every situation, this is the person that they're going to get. They know whether we're going to be loyal. They know whether we're two-faced. They know what to expect. People with authenticity have integrity. They're consistent in their actions. Their actions line up with their values and beliefs. And they're morally upright. They adhere to strong ethical principles and moral standards. People who are authentic are vulnerable. They're willing to share their true selves, their fears, their hopes, their failures, in hopes that it could help somebody else. And they have courage because they can face potential rejection or criticism with bravery. They prioritize honesty over acceptance. And then they're genuine. They are sincere in their interactions and they do not put on a facade to impress others. Because the worst thing we could do is try to impress others with a false self. We need to be ourselves because eventually they're going to learn who we are. And they may not like who we truly are. And we're not going to like ourselves if we're not being true to ourselves and true to who we are. And it fosters empathy. So we have a better understanding of others. We can empathize. We can understand their feelings and their perspectives. We can show them compassion. People who are authentic possess confidence in who they are and are not swayed by other people's opinions or societal pressures. And they respect themselves. And they have humility because they know their limits and they are not afraid to admit that they are wrong. They're open to learn. They're consistent. They're resilient. So what are some ways to cultivate authenticity? One is to practice self-reflection. We can do this by journaling our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences regularly. We can do this in the morning. We can do this before we go to bed. We can do this when we have a spare moment at lunch, at work, or when we have a spare moment while we're picking up the kids or while we're waiting in line because we've always got our phones stuck to us. We can be writing in a journal on our phones. So we need to focus on understanding our feelings. We need to understand our thoughts, and we need to not shy away from our feelings and our thoughts, but actually feel them and think them and analyze them and figure out why we are thinking the way we're thinking. Why are we feeling the way we're feeling? What is the underlying cause? We need to look at it. If you see it on the paper, a lot of times you can see patterns easier than if you are actually just mulling it over in your mind. Because something about it being on paper makes it more powerful. And we need to make sure that we're staying in the moment, that we're engaging in this exact moment, that we're not thinking about the past or the future, but we are focusing on this moment. What do we feel in this moment? What are we thinking in this moment? Because we need to take life day by day, minute by minute, second by second. Instead of trying to change your thoughts all at the same time or change your feelings all at the same time, but you change your feelings by changing your thoughts, because everything starts with a thought. The way you change your thoughts is you counter your thoughts. What am I thinking at this moment? Is it true? Is it kind to myself? Is it what I want to be thinking? And is it going to get me to a better future? Because if it's not going to get you to a better future, take the time to counter that thought. Because the more we counter those thoughts, the more we condition ourselves to think better. The more we condition ourselves to think positive, But a lot of times we will just let the thoughts go through our mind. We will just let them go like a train along the track. But we need to stop that train of thought. We need to stop it and inspect it. We need to inspect it that it is positive instead of negative, and that it's going to lead us to the goals and conclusions that we want to get to. And then we need to identify our core values. We may need to make a list and prioritize our values. What is it that we want to be known for? What is it that is deal breakers in our lives? Because most of us don't know what we believe. We don't know what we stand for. But we need to stand for something or you're going to fall for anything, like the song says. What are the core values that are important to you? What are the core values that you want to be known for and you want to live up to? Because you got to make it clear that those are your values, those are your deal breakers, and anybody who violates those values, any project that violates those values needs to not be in your life. We need to reflect and make sure that we are in alignment with those values, that the things that we're doing in our lives, the people that we have in our lives are aligned with those values. And then we need to embrace vulnerability. So we need to share our true selves. We need to open up about our fears and our dreams and our failures with trusted individuals, our friends, our best friends, those close friends. We're not going to open up about our fears and our dreams and our failures to people we don't know, unless you're doing a podcast or unless you're doing some kind of speech on stage or you're counseling people. That's when you open up to people. That's when they see your true self and see what you stand for. But we have to make sure that we are not just going around telling the clerk at the store or people that we don't know our fears, dreams, and failures. We keep that for our close, trusted friends, our inner circle. And we accept our imperfections. We embrace our flaws and we see them as part of our unique identity. That doesn't mean that we're not mastering our weaknesses. That's not saying that we are not playing into our strengths and mastering our weaknesses. But we all have flaws and quirks about us. And we have to accept that that's who we are. And then we need to be honest. We need to speak our truth. We need to communicate our thoughts and our feelings openly and honestly. We need to stand up for ourselves. There's a time and place to stand up for yourself. You got to pick your battles. But if that is a hill you're going to die on, make sure that you're speaking up for yourself. Don't let people take advantage of you. Don't let people walk over you. You are unique. You are who you are, and that is awesome. That is your superpower. So don't let anybody tell you that you are worthless. Don't let anybody tell you that you are not worth it, because that's what they're saying to you when they are violating you, when they are treating you badly. They are saying you are not worth it and they are better than you, but they are not better than you. Nobody is better than anybody else. You are you, and that is your superpower. Embrace it. We need to set boundaries. We need to know our limits. We need to clearly define what we are comfortable with and communicate those boundaries to others. Are you comfortable with people just coming to your house? Would you prefer that they call first? Would you prefer that they don't stop by without prior notice? Would you rather not be contacted by work outside of work hours? Would you rather that your mother-in-law doesn't criticize everything you do? You have to set boundaries. What is it that you're going to accept? What is it that you're not going to accept? And if the person crosses that line, they're crossing your boundaries. And we need to respect ourselves, prioritize our self-care, and respect our needs and limits, as well as other people's needs and limits. And then we need to seek personal growth. We need to continue to learn, engage in activities that are going to promote self-improvement and get us towards our goals. We need to take time to actually educate ourselves about what it is that we want to do. What is keeping you from your goals? What can you learn that will get you to those goals? And where can you learn it? YouTube is gold for finding out how to do things that you didn't previously know how to do. In this day and age, we have the resources to find out how to do anything to get us to our goals. We just have to learn. We have to put in the time to educate ourselves. And we need to surround ourselves with supportive people. We need to build a supportive team, cultivate relationships with people who respect and encourage our authentic selves. We have to get out of toxic relationships, out of people who don't understand us and want us to be something that we're not, who compare us to others. That's not healthy. And we need to make sure that we're putting a distance between us and them. That doesn't mean necessarily cutting them out of our lives, because sometimes you can't cut family out of your life. But it does mean putting distance between you and them. And then we need to live with integrity. We need to be consistently living with integrity, making sure that our actions align with our beliefs and values, that we stand up for our beliefs, and we have courage to stand up for what we believe is right. A lot of us just don't stand up for what we believe, and we just take a back seat. But we complain about what is going wrong in this world, and we don't stand up and do anything. We don't stand up and fight for good and for change in this world. We just sit back and let it happen. And we need to listen to our inner voice. We have to trust our instincts, pay attention to our gut feelings and our instincts. And we need to act on those instincts, because your inner voice is trying to lead you someplace, tell you what to do, and try to get you out of trouble. But when we go against our inner voice, when we go against those instincts, that's when we get off track. And then we need to practice gratitude. I say that in almost every video, but it's true, because we're focused on what we don't have. We're focused on the lack, and we never focus on what we do have. Practicing gratitude is going to cause abundance to come into your life. It's going to attract more into your life than if you were focusing on your lack. What we focus on happens in our lives. So if we're grateful, more abundance comes. But if we focus on the lack, more lack comes. And that's when we get into this perpetual struggle mentality. This is when we are always struggling to make ends meet. We need to change our mindset, change our thinking, and it will change our lives. We need to accept ourselves. We don't accept ourselves. We always want to be like the Joneses. We want to be like those people who are on Facebook and on Instagram, and we see their houses and we see what they're doing. But those are the highlight reels. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what they're struggling with. We don't know their problems and their challenges. We only see that picture and think they've got it all together. But nobody has it all together. Everybody is dealing with something, some challenge, some problem in their lives. And if we don't compare ourselves to others, we're going to have a better time. We have to just focus on being us and doing what is best for us and our families. We need to focus on being our true self, making sure that we're living a significant life, that we're helping others, and that we are being the best people, the best version of ourselves that we can be. And that's a wrap on today's episode on authenticity. I hope you found these tips helpful and inspiring on your journey to living a more genuine and fulfilling life. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone you think might benefit from it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with authenticity and your challenges regarding mindset and changing your mindset. So drop your comments below and let's continue the conversation. What steps have you taken to be more authentic in your life? What challenges have you faced along the way? And what challenges are you having to change your mindset? Thank you so much for watching. Remember The most powerful thing you can be is yourself. So stay true, stay authentic, and keep being you.